I would love to have this game carried on, but I share your doubts and with the other guys I was just listening to. But at the moment, I am playing on a daily basis, like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours after work. Just
Broken
a
Arrow
regular
still.
player. Yes, yes,
Okay.
just Broken Arrow on a regular basis with a pre-made. So we were on Discord and we find each other after work and we play regularly. So,
And you said you're
but
German,
we do
right?
not. Yes,
Okay, I just want to make sure. I know the accent might seem obvious, but I just wanted to double check that. Do you know who King Chief is?
I know.
He's a streamer. I know he's the only German streamer that I know that covers the game consistently, and he was one of the people that we fought the other day when I was doing one of my coaching sessions. So I actually have a recording of what it looks like to fight against us when we were actually doing exactly what we intend on doing for the tag system.
Oh,
So
really cool.
yeah, I'm gonna
Can
post
you
that at
link
some
me?
point.
Yes, perfect.
Um, so anyway, I started the recording. I don't know. I'll do either this will be a video or maybe this will be a podcast. It depends on what we get up to. But I've started the recording. So now that we have that, just go ahead and run back through what you said to me when we were up there. We were. Maybe I'll preface this a little bit differently, but we do these hangout sessions in my Discord, where just anybody that happens to be active at that time, we're talking. Where everybody seems to they can be playing the game that they're a game that they're interested in. We had some people that were playing No Man's Sky. Somebody was playing Guitar Hero even just because they felt like playing Guitar
Yes.
Hero. And we just kind of hang out, and then whatever's happening throughout the day, we'll just have you just kind of just chat, just kind of hang out. And you joined the Discord for the first time, and you were being very polite, and you just said that you wanted to talk about Broken Arrow. So just yeah, go ahead and give that intro here, and we'll get going.
So yeah, thanks for the opportunity to reach out to you. Um, my history is like I'm playing Broken Arrow since the beginning of the game, together with some guys on a German Discord. And it was like the normal playstyle. We refer to it as the Warno playstyle up until we got like ELO 1500. And then this was a couple of days, maybe ELO 1600. And when we get back to 50. And so we did not cross this border. And I asked some high ELO games players, what do we do? What do we need to do? And then there was only advice was to combine decks and playing to the strengths and the weaknesses of your other guys, but it was not the solution to our problem because we had we on this Discord. It's like whoever needs the fifth man in the group is just joining, so you do not play with the same guys every evening. So it's very difficult to have these standardized decks to accomplish the weaknesses of everybody else. And therefore, I started to reach out into the YouTube series and look for somebody who is giving advices and tips and tricks, and I came to you. So this kind of playstyle was more suited for my own playstyle. This is interesting. It is not waiting for and looking for your artillery to hit somebody or not, and just playing this Warner style. So I introduced your tech system to some of my guys, and they didn't like this idea at all.
Yeah.
So a couple of weeks I was playing on my own, and everybody was shouting at me, "Oh, you feed it! Look at your kill loss ratio. It is always down below zero, so you're only feeding." But like I said, I watched these videos and I had the same feeling like you always telling. So I was facing three people and they couldn't get through my line of constantly bringing up at this point was Russian armor, Russian side. So um, yeah, I have seen the hate you get on your channel about your tech system, and I got the same answers from my guys. So um, I was worried, and honestly speaking, a couple of weeks ago, I was down for quitting BA because I didn't found somebody who was playing like me and wasn't very fun to play. And
Right.
at some point, luckily, I found one or two guys, and then we grouped up, and they were also interesting. And I taught them what you tell us during your videos. And with every person more in the five-man group working more in the direction like your tag system, our accomplished, our goals were, oh no, goals, not our
Success.
it's our success, correct? Thanks. Our success was increasing, and at some point, there's made a talk in our Discord, and then I got, yeah, we had some successes, and at some point, everybody in the team was listening to me, and I was forced to be the leader of these strategies, and yeah, since one week, 1.5 weeks, we are constantly increasing ELO due to sudden deaths, and we were absolutely wrecking through these lines of American decks in our
Yeah.
enemy opponents. And
Let me. Can I stop you there for a second?
sure,
Unless you just wanted to finish the thought there. You were saying that I do get on these rants and you do go on those rants a little bit. I got a couple of things I want to bring up based off what you said there. So if you did just if that was the end of your thought, let me know. Is it so? Was it?
yes,
Okay.
we
Okay.
we
Good to
can
go
take a
there.
break.
A couple things that I want to touch on there because what ended up happening with this is it was just a mixed bag of so many different ideas that I had for content, and then it turned into this tag system that you're referencing. But what's funny is you actually ended up completely organically because you hadn't even known about my channel yet, going through the paces that I ended up going through, where it wasn't me that so correction, it wasn't actually me that did this, but it was my friends that they weren't as into these games. They didn't play too much war game. They didn't play Warno. This was Broken Arrow. The Broken Arrow was their first RTS, where they were just trying to find people to play with, where initially they did have that group, and because it was the popular game of that time, they had no problem finding people on Discord. But you do eventually reach that point where you're not able to find people to play with for whatever reason. Maybe you only have 45 minutes to play or an hour ish to play. You just don't have that time, or you don't have that access to the group that you had. So going into the solo queue was your only option if you wanted to play the game. So am I correct in it sounds like that's what you were trying to do, or it sounds like that's what
Yeah,
you were left with
yes,
basically.
yes. Up until level 20, I did solo queue, but
Okay.
level 20 was like, I don't know, ELO 1000 or 1200. I don't know, but I did that, and at some point I, yeah, recognized no, this is not possible due to levers, due to uh, completely inconsistent play styles from my team members. So I joined up a German Discord community.
Yeah. All right, so then I had it flipped around a little bit, but regardless, you had significant issues with the solo queue. It was just no longer. It was.
Yes.
Would you say? This is definitely me putting words in your mouth. Obviously, because also English isn't your first language there. But what I've been calling it is it was a waste of time. The solo queue was a waste of time. Would you agree with that?
Up, yes,
Yeah, that's the
yes.
conclusion that I came to as well. With this stuff, and then if we're going to salvage anything the fact that you can get into a game for the solo queue and you make the most important decision of the next 50 minutes of your life and have no ability to communicate with your teammates whatsoever, which is when you choose your deck, is proof that they didn't give it just or remotely enough thought about what happens. And personally, I it was obviously some kind of overlook, or maybe they just didn't think it was that big of a deal with it being 2025. They thought everybody was going to play in Discord. But then you did find that Discord community, and then just to be a bit more specific on that end of things, what were the problems that arose when you did get into that Discord community? How often? I'll give some specifics here. Like, how often were you able to find games? Were you able to play whenever you wanted to play after joining that Discord community?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
cool.
I can. This. We are. I don't know the average, but I think 5 to 7 full man groups are on a daily basis online
Okay,
on
so
this
it's just a
Discord.
very
So this
active
is
group of seven then,
um it
or
is a
more.
very No, no. It's like we have I think 5 to 7 full channels, like 5-man groups playing the game
Okay, so it's like
in
hundreds of
average.
people, or like dozens, or
No,
thousands.
no, 5 times 5 people.
So it's okay.
So
So
it's
25 people.
roughly. Yeah, yeah,
All right,
maybe some more, maybe some less, but it is always easy to get an access on this Discord community
got it.
to a group who were looking for the fourth, for the fifth member of the day for their play in their elo.
Okay, so to be
So
clear,
the
it's not like it's not hundreds of people. It's not thousands. It's 25
no, no,
people,
no,
couple of
no,
dozen
no,
people.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, but on a regular basis. Now, after a couple of weeks, I do recognize most of them, so it's a consistent player base on this Discord.
nice, friendly new group of friends, basically based off of
Yes, absolutely.
same
Broken Arrow
interests.
was the
Okay,
first
cool.
game who drew me into Discord. I am a TeamSpeak guy
Same.
from the old days, so
Wait, still,
Broken
or
Arrow. Ah,
you're
no,
just
still
used to
not.
it?
No, no, no. No,
Okay,
I was used to TeamSpeak in my past career as a gamer. Let's call it like this. But yeah, honestly, after a break of playing together with people for the last years, I was more into silent by myself and have a easy game chair after work. So no communication at all and no gaming with other people. But Broken Arrow brought me back to this game and playstyle to chat up with guys, and I really like it. So this is one of these things I can do for me personally. It brought me back to connect with people, but via Discord now.
yeah, it is a great game. What's funny is when I got into a game very similar to this, when I got into Wargame Red Dragon, um, that was a TeamSpeak community, and that's where I met Bolt. So when I
Mm.
started playing Wargame or Dragon, I wanted to find people to play with, and at that time it was TeamSpeak. This was like 2013 or 2014 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
The
joined
old
a
days.
TeamSpeak because I wanted people to play Wargame with, and that's where I ended up meeting Bolt and a bunch of other people, and it became its own story. It became its own friend group that I've had dozens of people that I still have those friends up until this day because of that. So that's interesting that that's the exact same thing that happened with you, and it was in particular for this with Discord. So that was cool. I'm glad that that stuff is still happening. Um, but there's so based off of that beginning there and based off of your background there, uh, lead us into what happened next. So you guys were playing and go from there.
Yeah, yeah, we were playing, like I said, on this regular basis, but we couldn't climb over this 500 elo barrier. Let's call it like this. On first day, we had very good success with our normal play style, not connected to each other. We were talking to each other, but we didn't have a strategy. So everybody was moving on his dedicated objective and then setting up a front line, bringing in supplies, bringing in artillery. And at some point, we figured out it is like a 1v1
Five
when
separate
nobody
1v1s.
yeah, yeah, exactly, 5 separate
Yep.
1v1s, and the only the only possibility to reach the success in the game was if your counterpart was weakened in these parts where you had your own deck with these exact strengths. It was like a 50-50 chance that your opponent is weakened to the strengths you bring into this game, and it was very unsatisfying for me to have
Right.
these, yeah, no
It's
strategy and this luck based RNG based one. So you could hit a good one, then you win, or you could have gotten a the bad deck on the opponent, and then you lose. And this
yep.
was very unsatisfying for me. And I reached out to get more input, and this was on YouTube channel on different
Let
basis.
me.
And I'm
You're streaming again here for a second. So let me. I'll cut in here for a second. But it's almost like based off what you were running into, it's almost like the game was developed and balanced based off of what a certain amount of decks can do to a certain amount of decks. So there's a rock paper scissors involved, even when it looks like there's so
Yes.
much variety, because there is so much variety, but there is things that you can fall into. That's a rock paper scissors. You bring rock, somebody brought paper, and there's nothing that you can do, and you end up wasting the next 50 minutes of your life. Is that
Yeah.
sounds like that's
Yeah.
about what you would? Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah. Yeah.
something that I've been saying quite a bit. Because the reality
Yeah.
is they did balance this game based off of what three decks could do to another three decks, and because everybody has free will and there's so many cool things that can happen in this game, there's so many cool units and there's so many cool things that you can do with this game, people just decided they wanted to do a certain thing. And if it just so happens that enough three or more people on your team choose rock, and if three or more people, if not the entire other team, chooses paper, you are not winning that game and you are wasting your time.
Exactly.
So it sounds like that you'd agree with that. It sounds like that's what you were trying to explain there. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Just
This.
wanted to make
This.
sure because that's exactly what I've been saying. So it's crazy that you even exist. And it almost was like I thought you were fucking with me. That's why I wanted to
No.
record this. It's
No.
just like completely organic. I've never met you. I've never talked to you before in your life. And yes, you've watched some of my videos, but you're not even aware of this part of what I've taught people. And you completely have come to the same conclusion organically on your own. Anyway.
And this was the reason why I reached out to find
Yeah.
some new input, how to improve, and what are
Yeah.
the high elo players doing. But I found high elo players playing in the same style with this rock, scissor, and paper problem, and somehow they are that much effective in their micromanaging one single unit. I don't know that at the end they still are getting out of this game or this game on a successful way. But I am not that pro player in particularly
Exactly.
with microplaying. So
Exactly.
I don't like to babysit an Armata 410 points, and because of one failure or wasn't one misclick or something like this, I lose it. So I
Exactly.
don't like this play style. But I am also watching these videos but it is less and less less and less interesting for me because I am more driven on your side of this play style, this faster approach on
the
it.
the way I see it is it's very aggressive. It's just more action. There's just more going on. You put your units in their absolute you take a risk to put your units in the absolute best situation that they could possibly be in, and you have them consistently fighting. You have them constantly
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
fight and
Oh,
constantly having an effect on the game.
my first rule is when we start a game and we have somebody new to this game playstyle because our fifth man is not available, then I always tell we do not fight for points, we fight for the enemy spawn. So our target is enemy spawn
Yeah.
and not the objectives.
Not
And
a bad
if you get this first rule, then you completely can rush over the whole points and establish your new front line way behind these capture points, and so nobody from us is moving on these capture points because we directly drive through with fast units into enemy spawn location,
You're right.
general direction.
Yeah. And you still do it intelligently. It's based off of not where the objective is, but where the roads lead and the way that the map is laid out. It's map
Yes, yes,
control.
yes.
Yes.
I found very success copying with my guys your videos where you firstly introduce it after Russian mechanized warfare. I'm not sure how to Russian. There were some videos following with these airport maps where you firstly put into my mind the idea of cutting off entire map sections from the enemy,
Spawn.
and this
MSRs.
this
Yep.
this blew my mind. And at this point it is not able to do it on every map, I think, because some maps are really mirrored,
Yep.
so there is no availability to cut something off. But if they are unsymmetrical maps, then we always try to find this sweet spot in where you are able at least to cut off so many flags or so many objectives that you maybe not get all of them, but the majority of it, and so you have the flag counter on your side, and then
Yep.
it's uh,
And
it's possible to cut off.
and excuse me, and then it makes them waste resources on something that will not get them out of the hole that they have dug for themselves. Because their front line, the
No.
thing that they're fighting over, is just the road to the objective, let alone the objective itself. So that's a big part of what I've been teaching people. It's a big part of the
Yeah,
tag
we
system.
we are we are very successfully with the all-time favorite of Kaliningrad.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Nobody wants to play this map because it's like in the normal way, it's like an arty game.
yep,
So everybody is firing from one side to the other. But honestly, we are driving with 5 people directly through C
yep,
on the shortest lane, push heavily into enemy territory and cut off the whole map. And it is working every time, at least
yep.
when we are facing a Wano strategy team on the other side. But
Thank
like
you
I
for
said, and
being
that's
who
the
you
reason.
are. Thank you for. I just this is crazy. It's crazy hearing it because I heard it from my other. Well, not all my content creator friends. It's actually I ended up leaving Bolt's Discord and I'm not going to be playing with Bolt's community anymore because I was playing this way and it was just constant game after game after game where I was having these effects on the and where I was holding these front lines and I was getting bad mouth while I was doing it,
Yeah,
and I was allowing them,
sorry,
I was propping them up to do
I
these
don't.
artillery things and these
No,
air spam things, and I was getting bad math for
no, no,
bad
no.
math for doing it.
Yeah,
It was crazy,
it
dude.
it it doesn't it doesn't work when one, or it can work when one is playing the old style. But if you have two members on your side not playing the fast push technique or attack or let's fast push, then it's not working because the pressure is not effective on. In this Kaliningrad scenario, I told them, hey, we will lose anyway. So why don't we try a new approach on this map? Everybody is following my order. 5 men rushing C over the bridge. We smoke with our vehicles. Somebody asked me to bring some mortars with smoke. I said, no, it is too slow. Don't bring that shit up. Just hit your infantry into fast vehicles and we move over.
I
Where
love
do
you.
we move?
I love you.
This one.
Yeah,
There, this area, we will cut this area off and we try to fight as long as we could. Because a couple of days ago, I made the same strategy, but only with 3 people. And we had it was not working. We lose this match, but we faced at the end five people, and our so we with us three, we faced 5 people directly in front of their spawn, and my teammates didn't collapse on the flanks. So I said, we are facing 5 people on the front, so you do not have any pressure on your side. Please push. And he didn't do. He told me, I need some vision, I need some snipers over here. And I said, you are playing Russian. Russian don't care about vision. You play on block. You directly move into the face of the enemy and get them out of the buildings. No need for it. And we were laughing that hard about this funny moment because we at this point we were completely down. We knew we lose it, but we spammed our units into the opponent, and then this guy on the left said, no, I need more vision. And we were like, guy, we are facing 5 people. You do not need vision because there can nobody be on your side because everybody is working on our side to push us back. And this was this funny. And this moment was then the encounter for the next decision. Okay, we do it now with 5 people, and it
exactly.
worked.
And you had to do that
It
in
is
text
it
chat,
it
right? You had to text back and
no,
forth
no,
to that
no,
guy, or was it
no,
verbal? Oh,
no.
you had to verbal
Yeah,
say it to that guy.
you're no, no, no. You're right. This one we were 3 men
Yeah.
pre-made and 2 randoms. Of course,
What?
yes. I needed to tell him via chat, but the approaches who were successful were
Yes.
like 5 men pre-made
So
into this.
yeah.
Yes.
So what I do when that happens, with the solo queue recently is I'll go and I'll divert some of my own units and then just go show them, look, you can go forward, just go forward. And of course it always does. Maybe I have one
Yeah.
ATGM go at my front vehicle and then I smoke it and then hell, God forbid I lose a couple of vehicles because they have those ATGMs in place or they have those vehicles in place. But the fight
Yeah.
that comes after that with just diverting just a little bit of my units, it's done. We've taken the
Yeah.
ground. We've and then because that
Yeah.
person's so used to, they were probably already air spamming themselves. There's nothing else there. Just move forward.
Honestly
Yeah.
speaking, I don't try to prove that anymore because I made the experience with people that at some point they want to prove you fail.
True.
And
Yes, that definitely. Yes. Yes,
if
that
you
is
are
real.
in
Yes.
if you are in this overheated situation where everybody's shouting for support and losing his own units, and then you try to teach somebody, okay, now do it. Here, I can show it for you. They are, I don't know, it's like human behavior.
Yep.
They say no, I don't want to, and then you will lose that fight. And this was the main difficulty is now to find five people who are willing to play this game in a different way. And I found them now,
Yeah.
but somehow, of course, we are not all fully aligned. At sometimes I get only three people of my crew, and then we take two
Yep.
randoms on our Discord. But to tell them, do you have a deck? Yes. What is your fastest vehicle? And then tell me 70 or 65, and they say no, forget it.
If it's
Next
Russia,
one.
that's fine.
Do you have?
If it's Russia,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Russia
Because
is
the
fine,
BT3F.
but
Because
America not.
no,
And
no.
or
Yeah.
at least I don't find it out. But then the next question is, do you bring artillery? Yes, I have what this and this, and I
6.
said, okay,
Yeah.
forget it,
Yeah. It's
forget
probably
it.
6. Yeah. It's
I,
probably 6 plus. Yeah.
that is like at some point, please push. Yeah, my artillery is not ready. You don't need artillery. Since we are playing the tech system, we do not have any problems with cruise missile spam, with counter artillery. We do not have it because we are way too fast. Every unit gets an attack order in the direction of the enemy spawn, and so constantly is moving from one building to another. So we have seen a lot of situations where they just fired their 400, 600 points of cruise missiles into the air, into some woods where we are or where we were a couple of minutes ago. But
Yep.
it is no problem at all for us. Like RT game, no cruise missile game, and sorry that I'm switching between Russian and American. Like Russian for me is easy mode. We didn't
Yep.
we face it. We get bored from the Russian because we were like winning and constantly paced that at some point we said, okay, either we quit now the game because we have achieved everything, or we are now looking into US side. And this is the reason why I came to you today, because I am not able to find a way to copy this Russian game style with BT3F and all the infantry
Yes.
parts and then switch over to the US. I
Right.
I'm try to combine every US unit with everyone, but I don't know. That's
Right.
the reason why I came to you
I got
today.
you. I got you here. So now we're gonna get. Now I'm gonna start to rant a little bit, okay? And I'll ask some questions here and there. But to get started, thank you. This is great. And just to like, we've never talked before today, right? We've never
No,
but you did
no,
see some of my videos, so that's what made you come over here and join this Discord.
yes,
As
only videos.
you just made my entire RTS life because of what I've been dealing with on the backlash for everything that has been happening with this. And the fact that you exist were completely organically to just have this happen without me taking part at all is just perfection. This is just, you bow tied it for me. You just gifted. This is an absolute gift. So what's been happening here, and I'll go into this a little bit now. What we are planning on doing is creating its own community within this Discord that you're on with the Nice Guys Discord. Where right now, what I am doing is I am coaching people to be coaches. So I am not coaching people on how to play the game. I am coaching people with how I play the game and with the tag system so that they can teach other people. Because there's
But
plenty of
why you do
people.
it?
What?
When you do it, why you do it, then everybody will play it like this, and then
That's the
the game
process.
becomes
Yeah, it's
really
work.
difficult.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. So, the problem is that when I have all of the hate that I have, all of the good players dislike. I literally, when I was coaching the people that I've coached so far, there's several. They're not just two actually. It's not just one, not just two. There's actually several quote unquote pro Broken Arrow players who I have coached that I've one-on-one, and none of them said that that their friends can know that they're talking to me. None of them, because they all hate me. They all despise me. I just heard the other day that number one player, whoever the Benji guy who said that the tag system's a joke, all that stuff. It's just friends that are finding it fun to bully people and to harass people. Like that's just the talk of the town. And if they see that they went over and started to do this thing, or if they even thought about doing it, there's gonna be backlash within their friend group, and nobody wants that. So if it takes other people to come up with it themselves, or if it takes other parts of the community to start grow into it, whatever it takes, this is a dominant way to play the game. And initially I started to worry about it because I think that based off of what we've seen them do in terms of balance changes, I think they're going to end up really fucking up the game, because the way that the reason why this is as powerful as it is because of the way that the economy works. It is just a numbers game. So if they try to make balance changes off of the economy, I think we're really in trouble. I think that they're going to fuck it up big time because they don't really know what they're looking at in terms of balance for the units as it is. They went and they wanted to buff Russian Marine when it might be the strongest spec in the game. It's crazy.
Yeah, and
I laughed. Yeah.
very unpopular. And since a couple of days, I only see Russian coastal troops
Yeah. Now that people
in
are caught
every
up.
single combination you can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we get past that, we're done with that. We're done with that part of it. You came by because you wanted to know what can you do on the U.S. side against this on the Russian side, and I have to let you know here that I've done the thorough testing. As I mentioned before we started recording, I have tested every single unit. I've tested every single combination. There was even a test that I did like day 2. I think the VOD still exists because I did this on live stream, where I just started pitting things back to, like head to head. You've probably seen YouTube videos of like Ultimate Battle Simulator or whatever it is, where they just put armies against people. They put like Star Wars army versus 40k army, stuff like that.
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
actually going to
I
do a
know.
series like that. What if like every Russian tank fought every American tank? Except the problem is, literally day 1, test 1, we found out that every single Russian vehicle, every single Russian unit went up against their American counterparts, just need to go forward. If you attack move with all of the Russian tanks versus all of the American tanks, the Russian tanks will win 100% of the time, not even remotely close. The only way that the US tanks or the US IFVs or anything win those situations is if you micro them. You have to fall back, you have to smoke, you have to flank. It is nowhere near the same play style. So if you are trying to find a way to play the United States as Russia, there's no way to do it. I've put in the legwork, I've put in the testing. There are similar units that will make you think that this is a possibility, and you can get something that when you do have those units in play will feel similar. But if you go into the game expecting to play the United States like Russia, you are going to fail. It does not work even remotely the same. Their capabilities, their accessibility, their availability, their what's it called? I mean, capabilities are just very different. They're the smokes, there's a word that I'm looking for in particular. Utility, their utility is different between smokes, between APS, all that stuff. The devs wholeheartedly believe that APS is stronger than smoke. When smoke, as put by Bolt, is a get out of jail free card. If you can't see it, you can't shoot it.
Wow.
A lot of people, I got a lot of backlash with one of my videos because people think that javelins go through smoke. Javelins don't go through smoke. The game is desyncy and it reacquires its target. There's a lot of missiles that reacquire its target. So if you smoke a vehicle but then continue to go forward, there's a lot of ATGMs that will now miss that vehicle because they've lost that lock. But if there's a javelin or certain hellfires, a type of hellfire, a type of ATGMs that can reacquire the target, and you are too far out of the smoke, or you're too far out either forward or back, it will reacquire you because the javelin is either and you're not able to see this, Cap, my bad, but the visual here when I'm recording because I have my webcam going is if the smoke is here and the javelin's up here and your vehicle is here, the javelin can still see your vehicle, so it'll go and hit it. And then if it's a little bit desyncy, your vehicle is not where it is in the smoke for your screen on that other player's screen. So if it's a little bit desyncy, maybe the smoke hasn't even popped yet. Additionally, if it's locked onto the target, it will continue to hit where it was going to hit anyway. So if you don't move it at all, it will still hit where it was because it's just hitting where it was last told to go. So it gets pretty advanced. It gets pretty difficult to understand. But with concepts like that, with weapon systems like that, smoke is the answer. Russia has 5, I think, different IFVs. Apart from the tanks, of course, all tanks get 2 smokes, or at least the ones that are considered real tanks get 2 smoke. So Russia has 5 IFVs on top of those tanks that get the 2 smoke, while the U.S. has none. Every single IFV gets 1 smoke. They probably have an APS option, but realistically, that's only going to stop one thing. And then congratulations, you bring a second ATGM, or if it fires dual, you're dead anyway. So it's
The
fundamental.
most units,
Yes.
the most units I played from Russia didn't have AP, so
They're not going to have it. It's just the. It's just
yeah,
the. It's
and so I was
yeah.
used to this playstyle,
Right.
and I didn't choose this option on the
But
US
you don't
side.
need it. You don't. You
Yeah.
genuinely, the smoke is what makes it. And then on the U.S. side, you just go. Do you play War Thunder? Do you happen to know War Thunder or play War Thunder?
Yeah, a
So
couple
do
of
you know the
years ago when it
expression
was really
"no
fun.
armor, best armor"?
Mm.
Have you heard that before?
No, not directly,
Okay. So
but
in
I
War
can
Thunder,
assume what it means. Yeah.
when you shoot like a proper like APFSDS round at like a S30 or whatever, and it goes straight through it because it doesn't
And doesn't
actually.
do any damage.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't do any
okay.
damage because it doesn't have the explosive power, and because there's no armor to get it to go off. There's no armor to get it to break up. It's the same situation here. So for the United States. So let me I've had recording issues before with being able to share my screen. So I will we'll do a separate one after where I show my screen and to make sure that you get the answer that you were looking for. But for the good of the recording, I'll visually go through this, and then we can get if it becomes too much of an issue, then I'll start my virtual camera up. But I'm worried about the quality of the stream. Actually, you know what? It doesn't need to be that good. We'll test it and see what's going on here. And I'll do a separate video if I need to, because we'll get into the specifics of the units here, because I do have an idea for what's going to stop Russia.
So, sorry, are you still recording now? I
Oh yeah,
didn't get it.
yeah.
Okay.
I've been recording since I first mentioned it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
kept going. I'm probably gonna post this as a debrief podcast or something. So can you see my screen? If you go
Give me
and see
one
how I'm
second.
live in Discord. There you go.
Yes, I can see your screen.
You can see
Yeah.
my Booker deck now.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. If you try to play the United States as Russia, you're gonna fail. The availability, the effectiveness of the units are not the same. They're just 2 very different nations with 2 very different strategies, which is good in a strategy game. We're supposed to be getting other factions and other nations in this game. Germany, UK, France, China, other things like that. They are going to have their own unique units, at least those nations are, and then past that you're pretty much looking at one of the other nations' units past that point. So then it'll get a little bit difficult in terms of uniqueness. But realistically, Germany is seemingly going to be a very good combination almost of the United States and Russia, because they get units like the Puma, which is very similar to the T-15, very heavily armored, has the high powered autocannon with ATGMs and things like that, while also being able to carry troops. On top of like different variations of IFEs, different tanks, the 2A7s, you get the Eurofighter, you get F-35s, the SF, the infantry, all very strong. So it'll be an interesting deck to say the least, an interesting faction. Similar situation with the UK, because they get the Challengers, they get awesome SF, they get awesome air. And then, of course, we got China on the other side of the faction if they end up doing it like a red versus blue situation, which it seems like they might not. But China, on the other hand, like they're going to have their own unique units. They'll have their own set up, their own economy, things like that. You want something like that in an RTS game. You want a reason to play differently within the faction, but also faction to faction.
Also, variety. It could be very boring if you play the US
Exactly
and
my point. Right. You do
play
want
the
variety.
US.
Yeah, exactly my point. So there's a couple of things. First off, what you guys should check out, because it is quite powerful, is just my American Fast Push. I have given you the role to the reason why I brought this up like this is to, one, plug the fact that we are going to be doing an open LFG in this Discord. So if you guys are still looking for people to play with, especially if they're going to be people, or if you are interested in learning the tag system for yourself, join the Discord and stay tuned. That is going to be happening pretty soon. It'll definitely be happening before October because that's when I need to go back and start playing my other games for my other YouTube channels. So if you guys are looking for people to play the tag system with and you speak English, because it's going to be primarily English speaking, but I'm sure there's going to be Germans, there'll be Russians, there'll be anybody else that, you want to play with, they're going to be available over on this Discord. So pay attention to that, or look out for that rather. So now that you, Kat, in particular, have access to this part of the Discord, you're going to be able to see these 5v5 decks. These are, when they are marked 5v5, are my tag system 5v5 decks. So these are not set up to be able to go into solo queue. This is not set up to play on your own. It is strictly set. These are strictly set up when you are having at least 2 other people who understand the tag system and primarily or ideally communicating verbally with you in your first language, so it's easier to communicate and understand the tag system and have their role within the tag system. You'll notice there's a lot of Marine here. So Marine mech is the most powerful spec for the fast push for Russia. We are still trying to decide the difference between a armored Marine and an armored mechanized, but we're pretty sure it's armored Marine in terms of a heavy push for Russia. And then support, you can't beat airborne Marine. You just can't. Airborne Marine with its air power, and then also your ability to fast push because you do have the units that you have along with Marine. It is possible. The reason that makes Russia as effective as it is strictly because of the BT3F with its capacity, with its armor, with its 23mm cannon, which isn't the best cannon in the world, but still with its 23mm cannon and its ability to carry 14 fucking dudes in there. That's 2 full squads. Sometimes more. That is bonkers. The US does not get that. The US does not have the BT3F. And there's probably thinking, and you're probably thinking even yourself, but what about the AMPV? The AMPV is not the BT3F. It is not 80 points. It has the Javelin. It has the Bushmaster 2. It's not going to carry 14. I think it's 12. Is it 12? What's the capacity?
Yeah, it's 12.
It's 12. It's not 14. It's not. Go ahead.
Oh, it's 12 people, and
Right.
I didn't use the Bushmaster. I put it down to only the heavy machine gun.
Right.
To
And then,
at least copy the price
exactly.
level.
Exactly. I'm gonna get there. I'll trust me. I'll get there. I'm going through it. I'm kind of going through my own pace. It's more of a teaching portion here, as to the camera as much as to you there.
Yes, I appreciate it.
The AMPV is not the BT3F. It's just not. You can make it very effective. It's not bad. No matter what I say, no matter when I say to use one unit over the other, it's not because the other one is bad. It's just this is what I've found in testing. So on top of the fact that the infantry, the troops that are coming out of that AMPV, are not what the Marines are for Russia. These RPG-27s, 655 millimeter of pen for 9 damage when they are 8 armor, 7-man squad with the smoke, with the sprint for 70 points, and they are very strong against infantry. A lot of the anti-infantry weaponry that you'll see, even with some of the SF squads, are like 1.5, 1.4. These two RPKs that you got 2.25. You got maybe a 1.8 in there on some of them. I might be wrong on some of those numbers. They're not 2.25. It's not. So this is just a normal squad that gets something that is better than most of what you're going to get as your anti-infantry. They're just good. On top of the fact that if you go with something like a mechanized, you get the Sturmoviki, but even within the Marines itself, you do get the Beretti, which get the thermobaric rocket launchers, and the AN-94s with the 3 damage rifles out to 400 meters. It's just obvious. It's obvious that this is dominant. It's obvious that this is a very good way to go. Now, when you look at what makes them powerful, and when, surprisingly, there were a bunch of pro players that started stream sniping, I would do live streams where I was teaching people the tag system, and they started stream sniping us, and they would say, like, oh, well, why are you scared about playing us? I'm just, no, I'm scared about you seeing our fucking stuff. Not to mention, the people that I'm coaching are not pro players. They're also not very good at the game. So what the fuck do you think is going to happen when you're doing something like that? It's bonkers. But I will say there was some benefit to it, because they had an idea of a counter to it, but it just was funny that every single time we played them, they also happened to be playing Russia, because they know how strong Russia is. So the baseline to this, though, is kinetic damage. And we're gonna get into this. Don't worry, Kat. This is answering your question because I'm going through a thorough process of explaining this. The way to beat any of these fast pushes is kinetic damage. Autocannons, tanks, heavy machine guns. That is your DPS. Your strong DPS will stop this because if you eliminate the transports, you eliminate the thing that makes the infantry strong within the fast push, which is their speed. You are putting them exactly where they need to be. And if their transports aren't there, then they're infantry. And infantry fucking suck because they're slow. They're slow and they don't have a lot of range. They're not a tank. They're not if they're ATGM infantry, then they have a bit of range against vehicles, but otherwise it's infantry in the open. They're not very powerful. So the way to stop a fast push is to eliminate their transports. Now it's up to the player to try and figure out the best route to get through, and you can smoke through. There's lots of this is what turns these coaching sessions into hours because it doesn't end there. And the reason why I say it's dominant is because there's plenty of gameplay that you can make to still make that effective. Quick answer to that being, if somebody's going to have armor or something with autocannons, it's a vehicle. Vehicles don't like ATGMs. What happens unless you've turned it off or if you're very good with your micro to a vehicle when an ATGM is shot at it, it will either auto smoke or you will do probably the smart thing in the given situation, which is smoke yourself. You've now done our job for us. You have concealed our movement, and now we are going to be able to get that much closer to you. Well, they're going to drive through the smoke. Well, are you going to micro it back? Because then you're not shooting. So if you're going to drive through the smoke yourself to be able to get those shots off, you're no longer in the smoke for that amount of time, in which case the ATGMs are going to be coming back towards you, and then you're going to need to smoke again, and now you have no more smoke. Now you have no defense against those ATGMs. So now you're going to need to go back to resupply either your APS or your smoke or both, and if we are on top of the game of making sure your supply isn't anywhere near you, then you're out of the fight. So that is another important part of the tag system that people like to forget. You do need artillery. We're not artillery spamming, but the artillery that we use are specifically there to kill SAMs, SHORAD, and supply. If you don't see SAMs, you kill SHORAD. If you don't see SHORAD, you kill supply. The further that they need to go back for that supply, the more out of the fight they are, and the better it is for us. So there's going to be gameplay. There's going to be frequencies at which when players know how to counter what you're doing, they're going to bring a tank. They're going to bring something that we're going to talk about on the US side that is going to be able to put down the DPS to stop your infantry transports rather from going forward, but they themselves have an easy counter. So to keep this as simple as possible, since we've already been going for 47 minutes, go ahead.
Maybe I can jump right into it. As you are talking about this, let's call it idea to stop the transportation, I remember a couple of situations where we as a US got air superiority and fought arriving Russian vehicles by the approach to us in a very successful way. I'm not saying that the air is the successful way, but
you should have that.
what I want to mention out that the strategy to stop them before they are in your face. I had this. I have some couple of games in mind where we faced the same situation, but we did not come to your conclusion. And that's a funny thing that you are now telling. The main idea is to stop them approaching to you, and I understand this thought, your thoughts behind. So please go ahead and don't worry about things like better or not better unit. I am asking you for your experience and your opinion, so I do not want to judge you in any case of
You're good,
this.
dude.
So I'm here freely. So
You're
I'm
good,
not
dude.
paid for this.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I truly I am using this as because I'm recording. So people are going to watch this. They're going to want some other value out of it. And I'm basing it off of the responses and the comments that I've gotten in the past. So some of what I'm saying is not directed at you. It's directed at the viewer. Because I will post this at some point. Hell, I'll probably post this tomorrow because this is a fucking gift. But that is what a lot of people, first off, the first problem is people think that it's meant like anybody can do this and anybody should do this. No, it's specifically if you are supported. It's for 3 to 5 players. Although you can be dominant alone, and this was the only method I had to test these things, I would do it alone. But it is not meant to be. I already understand the problems with it when you are doing it alone when everybody else is playing the game normally, as you brought up before. You are supposed to have support. You are absolutely supposed to be having different roles. There's a fast push, the hard push, which for all intents and purposes, is playing the game normally with a hard push, just armor. You have something heavy, which we'll get to in a second. And then there's the supporting role, which worries about the flank security, which worries about trying to get eyes on those spawns that you were talking about, trying to get eyes on their planes when they call it out so that you get as much information as possible. And then it's also, again, why these coaching sessions and this way to play the game takes as long as it does. And that's why it's been taking me so long to get to this, because I need people that understand what I understand, and they need to know how to play the game. So it's been a long time coming, and it's funny that you exist, that organically this is what we've come to. So without getting into every single bit of detail, we'll strictly talk about a United States counter. I've got 2 decks that you in particular and your friends I think should try, and I'll send this to you after the fact. So you good to go to get into that, Cat?
Yes.
Okay. So these 2 decks in particular, I would have you guys try. And actually, now that I think about it, I will send you a 5v5 deck, because you guys are 5 people who are doing the tag system that will keep this in mind. The important thing here is this is not a fast push deck. This is either a hard push or a supporting role deck. This is SF. This one in particular. So you can fast push if you need to, but this player using this deck should not be using their economy in that way. They should be using it for the bookers, for the Shorad, for the, actually specifically the SPHs, and your Sentinels. Every once in a while, you've got your Raptors, you've got your B2, and you have your F-35, maybe the Spooky. So there's a lot of gameplay, there's a lot of things that go into how to use these in particular, but your economy for this player is in a supporting role, and to eliminate the things that are the problem for your frontline players that are fast pushing. So that is why the Sentinel is there. That is why the Bookers are here. That's why the Shorad is there with its Hellfires, to eliminate also not just helicopters at a distance, but also lightly armed vehicle or lighter vehicles that can actually die to its pen value. Did you know top armor values for most Russian tanks and IFVs and the heavy IFVs?
No.
It's
I'm
100 to
not that deep
120.
into it.
It's 100 and 120 top armor. So these are not going to pen most Russian problematic vehicles. To keep it to bring this up, since we're on the subject, do you happen to know the top armor values of most American vehicles?
No, so.
Problematic.
Also not.
It's 60, with the most being 80. So every single Abrams tank, their top armor is 60. Hellfires and Javelins are going to go through the tops of Abrams, no problem. The most top armor that you can possibly get is with the M60, and that's 80, and it's still going to get through. So American vehicles are the most useful and the most effective against American vehicles, while they have a problem and they struggle against Russian vehicles. And that's strictly because of the way that they've balanced it. Because of the Hellfire, because of the top attack. And personally, I don't think it's the end of the world. Yes, the Javelin, yes, the Hellfire is dominant, and it still is dominant against those vehicles. So if Russia didn't have something fancy, if they didn't have the T-15s and the Armadas, it might be a little bit boring. So I'm personally...
No, we either cluster T14 and T15, or we threw some Mavericks at him.
So cluster...
we don't... So T15, T14, we do not... we give them a special call out, of course, but we respond to them with air normally.
You should.
So I don't mess around on ground with them.
Yeah, we teach that as well. One of the units that I teach these guys and have part of our tactic B is the B2, not with the nuke, but the JSOWs in particular. So we set a macro to our mouse so that you can hit, or keyboard, or however people want to set it up, to hit P 15 times with a 5 microsecond or 5 millisecond rather, 5 millisecond delay between them. So I understand that there's 16 here, but 15 is a very important number, because groups of 3 of these JSOWs will kill any vehicle in the game. So you know that you have 5 groups of kill anything that is in this circle for 500 points. The problem with the B2 nuke is that it takes away your economy from the deck side of things, because it's 1,000 points, but also in game. You need to kill 1,000 points worth of things in order to make up for that nuke. Sometimes much easier said than done, especially if people are spread out and they're doing the 5 1v1s, or if people are just spread out over it's a big map. And it's going to have an amazing effect on the game, because you can sweep an objective if there happens to be a lot of things there. But the problem is the B2 is going to die. it will drop the payload, but it is going to die. So the economy side of it on your in-game is you are throwing away 1,000 points when you use a B2 nuke, and you're also throwing away 500 points or variations of that when you put it into your deck on the air tab side of things. If you do the JSOW, it will almost certainly, as long as a plane is not up to spot it, it will almost certainly drop the majority, if not all, of its payload before it even gets spotted. It will absolutely guaranteed, if there's not a plane up, drop its first part of its payload before it's even spotted. When you see a B2 nuke, even with helicopters on the ground, unless you have a plane up, you will literally see you will actually see the visual of the nuke on its own just floating and dropping to the ground before you actually see the model of the B2. So that's how the stealth is set up when a plane isn't up. So what do you have to do in order to make those 500 points back? Kill 2 tanks. Kill two T-15s, which you're gonna do if you spread it out. And then while you're doing it, you can absolutely sweep every single supply depot. You can absolutely crit every single vehicle if you sweep across it. So the B2 is significantly effective. Significantly part of the strategy to eliminating the Russian spam. Full stop. For 500 points. So this player doesn't need to worry about that because they are probably using their Raptors to seed. The system behind seeding, you're going to be able to see this. You're going to see what basically would have been my script to this video for the TAAG system, which is our way of doing seed, which is the process. It's not the missile, or it's the fundamentals of seed, which is suppression of enemy air defense. That air defense is suppressed if it is moving because it can't shoot. It doesn't have its radar on. It can't shoot most of them, especially the most effective ones, if it's moving. If it doesn't have ammunition, or it's dead. So the most effective way to suppress enemy air defense happens to be conventional artillery with the Iron Thunders as the United States, the Raptor, and the F-35. The Raptor in particular with the 1,000 pounders, because every single SAM in the game will die to a near hit by a 1,000 pounder. Chances are, if there's another one nearby, it gets that too. 1,000 pounds is enough. And the reason why you do the Raptor instead of the F-35 is because of the speed. So that extra 90 kilometers an hour ends up making all the difference in terms of getting out alive or making to the things that they really don't want you to kill. So you can literally, we call it YOLO running when we go to bomb anything anyway, because you can do this at some capacity. You can start to do it with F-16s. There's other decks that have very cheap F-16s with the 500 pounders on it, because if this person is doing their job, they're not going to have the S-300s. They're not going to be able to stop it. So goodbye all of their artillery, goodbye their SHORAD, and goodbye their supply, because somebody has a couple of F-16s after somebody with Raptors and F-35 does their job. And potentially somebody else with an armored deck with Iron Thunders. So it turns out the most effective way to seed in this game is to get them to do their job. So shoot. After they shoot, you now know where they are, and then you just straight up go and bomb them. You can also hit them with artillery. They need to then go move, and then they need to remember to keep it supplied, and they need to remember to turn their radar on. If it's moving, it can't shoot. If the radar's on, it's probably not going to end up killing anything, because especially with the stealth planes. Sure, they can get lucky, but that cat and mouse game becomes much easier. And when you use a seed missile, what does a seed missile do? It fucking kills AA. It does not kill anything else. And on top of that, it only kills AA when their radar is on. So can it kill a Cessna? No, it can't. A seed missile cannot kill a Cessna. 1,000 pounder can. Especially if it's laser guided. 500 pounder. I actually killed an Armada the other day with two 500 because you laze it, and that's going to go through the top armor. That'll end up killing it, or overpressure. Or was it the thousands? Don't quote me on that. It might have been the thousands. I'm gonna post that game at some point, but either the thousands or the 500. The reason why I remember it might have been, but now that I'm looking at that top damage, I don't think that went through. Was probably the thousands. But still, you're not fucking doing that with, if this had two JSOWs, that Armada's not dying, because it'll only go to 66.6% of its health. Or rather, it will only take away 66.6% of its health, because JSOWs just do that. They do percentage. It doesn't matter what it is. So they're not going to be able to do that. But now that I'm looking at the pen of this too, so maybe it was the 500 pounders, because this is only a little bit better pen, and that's not the top armor. So it was either the thousands or the 500s. I'll post that game at some point. Either way, I've made my point. A fucking seed missile isn't killing an Armada. A seed missile is not killing an Armada. It's not when laser guided killing KA-50s. It's not when laser guided, or not even laser guided. It's not killing Tochkas. It's not killing Iskanders. It's not killing Smirches. So the 1,000-pounders and the 500s are. So it's more efficient of a munition.
So
Very important part of this
just
deck.
just
Go ahead.
a quick question. So do you want do I get you right if you say get air superiority as US to be able to stop
You
mechanized
don't
push,
you don't
or
need it because of what this does. So you ideally, obviously, this would be beneficial. All you need is not for them to have a plane up. Getting them to do their job can effectively stop that as well. Because if you are using these F-35s, if you're using this Raptor, why do you have a cheap Spooky in your deck? If you put out a Spooky, chances are they're going to call out ASFs if they see that up. Yes, the S300s can do the job, but if you're circling in the background because you know approximately the distance that an S300 is going to be able to engage a Spooky, and you're purposely having that orbit be on the closest that it can possibly be, and then hitting flares, and then you see that S300 not hit it. So you're getting them to waste their S300. So they're going to send an SU-35, or if they're using the SU-57 with the R-73, or rather the
a big
R-37s or
bait?
whatever, they're going to send a plane out. Maybe they'll kill it, maybe they won't. Maybe we kill their plane. Either way, even if that plane goes back, there's still a respawn involved with that ASF fighter. There's still a respawn. They can't immediately call it back out. So do they have another one? Maybe. Maybe they have another one. We just keep it going. So just getting them to do what they want to do, which is send planes out and potentially kill these planes, or just send AA out and get them to potentially even kill these things. That's another part of the equation. Getting them to do the thing that they think is the right thing to do, and sorry, not think, it is. You should have AA. You should have air superiority fighters. Is still pushing you towards your best case scenario of getting that B2 up. Because if they have that plane up, then it's not going to be able to spot it. And if there's no plane up, then you're not going to be able to see it. And you're definitely not going to kill the B2 by the time it gets those J cells off. So that anybody that tries to do anything just YOLO with a bunch of ground units, this stops them in their tracks. Now, it is slow. It is difficult to use. It does take a lot of practice, and we're still practicing that. So that's why there's other things to either slow down or get them to stop. We've got the Booker. We've got 20 mil strikers. And we've got grenade launcher strikers. One of the very first tests, and this VOD might still exist, the grenade launcher javelin striker with APS. Now, I know that this doesn't have APS, but I'm just putting out, just pointing this out. The grenade launcher javelin striker with APS will kill every single Russian IFV other than the armored IFVs, the T-15 and the Kurganets. It will kill every BMP-3, every BMP-2, every BMP-1, every BMD. The grenade launcher stuns it, and of course the javelin kills it. While if there's an ATGM, the APS eats it, or the armor eats it, and if it has an autocannon, the armor eats it. So 95 point, or rather, it'll end up being more, 120. A 120 point transport will kill every single Russian IFV. It's just funny though, because the BT3F is 80 and the BMP3M with its 30% ECM, it's what it does is it doesn't get panicked because of an auto loader, so it doesn't get panicked. Surprise, surprise, it gets magic. The crew doesn't get panicked, and the thing, even though it's getting dumped in with 20 mil or 30 mil or gets hit by an APFSDS round from an Abrams, it still has no problem shooting and no problem gauging, is 105 points with 2 smokes.
Superior Russian technology.
Just superior. I said that's Stalinium, just superior Russian engineering is just the way. So Russia is better than the United States in every single way, every single capacity except stealth. It just so happens that the way that stealth works in this game, if you can see it, you can shoot it. So if a plane spots a Raptor, then that means that the S-300 can engage it, and that's not even remotely close to the truth. So yes, the stealth stat adds to the RNG involved with it being hit or not. But how often do you have flawless games with your Raptor? Because the Raptor's flawless. It's the best air superiority fighter in the fucking world. And in real world testing, in real world combat, mock combat, it's undefeated. If you get into close dogfights and stuff, there's the Raphael and shit like that, but that's not what happens. You have no idea the Raptor is there and it dies. If you go and you talk to those Raphael pilots, if you go talk to any pilot, F-15, doesn't matter. The reality is you will not know it's there before you're dead. They can't have that in the game. That's ridiculously unbalanced. And because of the scale of the game, it's not BVR, so that they can't have that be in the game. It just so happens that it works great in the favor of the Russian developers. It's just funny how that works out. So don't count on your Raptor in the air superiority fight. You only get 2. Russian airborne players, they get up to 4 Su-35s, which is perfectly fine. They get up to 2 MiG-35s, which will do circles around this. And yes, I've tested it. Yes, that actually is the reality. You'll die every once in a while. It'll get its wins every once in a while. It's not flawless. But we want to know what also works too is the MiG-29K for 280 points. With its 10% ECM and its 80s tech missiles, will have no problem and repeatedly and constantly has no problem killing the F-22 in a head-to-head. No problem whatsoever. For 280 points with 10% ECM. You're not going to win the air fight against Russia. You're not. So don't try. Put the 1,000 pounders on here. Take away their S-300s. Get their air superiority fighters to come after you and try to stop you. And then when you find that gap, you put the B-2 through. Or when you get them to be dead or use up their missiles because they're doing a rush and they're coordinated with their air superiority fighters. They have them circling. They have the S-300s good to go. You send the Raptor or the F-35 or both after the SAMs that you do see or just in front of the vehicles that you do see on the ground. And then while they're trying to kill that, the B-2 is behind it. So there's tactics, there's strategy within that we have prepped for that. That is dominant. That is a very, very good way at stopping the Russian spam. But I'm getting off track here again.
Definitely a lot to remember during.
Exactly, and that's why that's why there's coaching sessions. That's why there's not just a video. When I first have my sessions with people that are really interested, it takes like 6 to 8 hours to go through all of this stuff. It is not what people think. But what makes it much easier is if they stop moving. So your Bookers, you got your Javelins, or rather you've got your Strikers with just the GLs will do the job, because if they're doing their part, they're going to unload that infantry, and now it's gone. So the transports are going to be there around there somewhere. Maws do a good job. The air burst grenade launchers do a good job. But this is for fast push. This is for a different kind of setup. This player that is using this deck should focus on reconnaissance. They should focus on things that are going to be able to take a hit, which are the Bookers, for sure. Get the Sentinels. Keep the Sentinels going. Keep your eyes up. Try and get these armored knights around the flanks. Try and get them up the side roads. This is to help with lasing, 2,400 meter optics. These scouts are a 6-man team, so you can put them in the RSOV to help contribute to trying to get eyes in good areas, because they're 60 points as opposed to the 120 or the 100 or the 80. So they also come with a very good striker that has the APS with the Bushmaster 2 and the Javelin. But that's 180 points. The BMP-3 is 105. The BT-3F is 80. Marine squads, 140. Not too far off for a BT-3F with 2 Marine squads. This will not kill that BT-3F, and the Marine squads will have no problem killing this in return. That's the problem. It's the efficiency of the units. So a lot of people are seeing the Russian spam with the BMP-1s. That is probably going to work to some people. Once people know how to actually bomb a road, it won't. But the actual efficiency is the transports dropping off the infantry exactly where they need to be. So you don't want a bunch of BMP-1s with a squad in it. You want particularly and specifically the BT-3F with 2 squads in it. Sometimes more if it's like, you know, broken up into the 4-man squads or whatever. Because if it's 4-man, you can fit 3 in there. Giggity. It's multiple squads with the armor, with the effectiveness that it has, behind other transports like the BMP-3, which is effective fire support on its own, but even cheap and very strong utility transports like the BMO, which you get with the Ognomachiki, which can drop an Ognomachiki and light your building on fire, but it can also drop off a 4-man. What's the name of them? The swimmers. PDSS. They could drop off a PDSS with their grenade launchers. Very effective anti-infantry. Optics out to 2,000. And the 10 armor, by the way. While getting the 2 smoke. Because the BMO gets the 2 smoke as well. So if you can't see it, you can't shoot it. It helps with the concealment. You need something there that can put down the fire. It is extremely rare for a tank shot to one-shot something. It's very rare for things to get one-shot in this game unless it is a very high HE thing or a bomb. So the CEV can one-shot. Some of the ATGMs can one-shot. Some of the ATGMs shoot fast enough that it might seem like it's a one-shot because it's as quick as it is. Otherwise, you need the DPS. So bookers are able to help just chunk, just bop, 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 bop. Just get the DPS down. SHORAD strikers, because of their Hellfires, because of their 30mm cannon, and also contributing to the SHORAD, it's doing its job, can help on that end too. These are the big actual contributors to supporting someone that is getting spammed on the ground by Russia consistently over the game. Then, depending on your situation, depending on the map, you can do what is already good with the United States, with its strikers, with its SF rather, with the RSOVs, with the Moz teams, the Ranger RRC, Pararescue if it's same building, Green Beret flashes if it's not same building. And what I mean by same building is if there is a fight in a building that you are okay with just putting your infantry in to eliminate that. If it's just a sniper team, if it's one squad of infantry, you go in with the pararescue, they flashbang, and they probably sweep them up because the flashbang stuns them. If it's a group of infantry that these probably aren't going to win against, then you drop the Green Beret flashes outside of that building, you smoke on them, and then you fire on position with the flash onto that building. You're not going to get shot in return. You have plenty of smoke because you get 4, and the building's still going to be on fire, and it's still going to kill the infantry inside of it. It's very powerful. Pararescue, you get the 4 smoke as well. So if you need to conceal on your way up, you can do that as well. Bookers are very strong against that. The grenade launchers are very strong against that. You get a lot of grenade launchers with the transports that you have in place anyway. So that is how you use this deck to counter Russia. But realistically, it's these units doing the role that we have lined up for it to make them as efficient as they are, while that player keeps in mind that they need those points in play in order to do that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
You're not calling out a B2
Yes.
with J-Sal's unless you got 500 points available. And you're not going to do that if you have all these units in play, because you're not going to have the income and you're just not going to have the points.
So if we maybe can a little bit curve back to my initial request of how can we improve as US, would you recommend me, with my knowledge now, to maybe sit a little bit back during our fights with my
Your best
guys,
player,
and use this deck, keep the rest of us doing their things with the fast push idea? So because I'm a little bit worried now to go back to my crew and say, okay, guys, I spoke to Nolan. Now I'm completely overloaded with information.
yes.
Everybody of you has to play. You have to play this deck. You have to play this deck, and you have to.
Yep.
Not everybody of us will be, I think, in the mood to be as this competitive
Exactly.
after a game we just open up after a long day of working hours.
Exactly.
You know. So, like a little, is there an idea, a strategy, what are your thoughts if you now zoom a little bit out and tell us, guys, okay, if you start using in your decks, I don't care what combination, but if you start to bring up some preferences during your decks and get familiar with the general play style, then at some point you will naturally evolve into these 5 categories of your decks, or something. Is there a step before this? You are way dig down into all these details, but we, as let's say a normal group,
I get it. I get it, dude. I get it. And I already have it. Yeah. So what we call those are heavies. So the heavy deck is a concept. I forget if I posted a video about this in particular, but it's a concept that I thought of even before the tag system. It's just there's too many units to learn. There's most efficient units that can just do their job and get done. So when you see the heavy deck 4-5v5, those are that. And then also, welcome to my world, because it is very complex, but it is true. So it's very complex. It's not easy to understand, but once you get it, it's dominant. So the way that we've been doing it so far is, if it's something that people want to go forward with, is I've been telling the guys, if you learn the fast push, you can learn anything. If you get good at the fast push, you can get good at anything. Because what you're doing is you are suiciding your units. But what are you trading with that suicide? So it takes a very specific skill set and understanding to make that effective. Because you're not just sending your transports with infantry down a road. You're sending Green Berets in front or pararescue in front, so that when that vehicle dies, if it is an RSOF, you can then smoke that road. And you need to know that, and you need to understand that. You need to be quick enough to be able to do that. Or if it's Marine SF, you're sending the Humvee. You're picking the Humvee, and you're picking the pararescue first because you know you have that smoke with that Humvee and you can smoke ahead of time. So there is, and that's just very minimal, just one concept. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of practice to get to that point. So it is a process. But if you learn the fast push, you can learn anything, and you're going to be much better off in the long run doing that. Then there's a phase 2 to that. If you don't want to do that, you can go heavy, you can go support, and then you can do just the B2. The B2 and the Booker is a solid place to start for countering the Russian spam. You can do Striker Marine, but you don't get the SF. So Striker Marine. Thought I had that. Did I not have one? I guess I don't have one for my 5v5s, but I definitely need to make one. Striker Marine does exist somewhere. Here we go.
Can also...
So Striker Marine, you get the Bookers, you get the CEV, and we get the concept that I call kill teams. So it's a couple of units. If at any point you have more,
Storm and T80.
Yeah, well, I'll get through it. I'll get through
Russian combination.
Yeah, I'll get through the American side of this too. This concept of these units is very, very powerful, and it can be a heavy or a supporting role within the TAAG system. But if you play this incorrectly, every single person that plays Broken Arrow knows how to counter this. Because it's vehicles. They're going to send tanks. They're going to send T-15s. You got to be, the way I call it is cute. You got to be cute with these units. So you have to have it as a supporting role. If these are frontline, they're not going to do too well. And if that other player is intelligent, they're going to focus their trophy. And that takes away most of your stopping power there. Because this does not kill tanks. And this can. If you're lucky, if it can top shot and also rear shot because of the 300 millimeters of pen and the 17 damage with the 165 hash. But this isn't going to frontally kill any tanks. This absolutely will. But it has potentially, if it's a more expensive tank, it's got APS and it probably has smoke. So that is going to stop these TOE2s from going through. So that's why you have to use units like this or somebody else's deck to get them to, or the Javelins, pop their smoke, not have APS, or have no choice. You are going to get hit with these ATGMs. So you got to be cute with it. Then when they don't have those heavy armor, or rather that heavy armor, then you can break through. And you can do it with the Humvees. You can do it with the Force Recon. You can do it with the Scouts. The Assault Smalls you can't do with the Humvees, but you can do with the Strikers because they can carry 9. This is nowhere near as effective as fast pushing onto a position. So this is the problem that arises. I still am, set out to set these roles so that you can go into a solo queue and dream mode. And if I could snap my fingers and have it exactly the way I would want it, is there's a 3v3 mode in the game. And when you are picking your decks, you can hit an icon, and even if you don't speak the same language, everybody will know not only am I choosing those units, but I'm going to choose those units and I'm going to do this with them. That is your role. This is absolutely a supporting role. It's not as effective as the fast push because the fast push is the economy play. It is you are outspending your enemy, and if they are not doing the same, they are not going to stop you from doing that, and it is going to take multiple of them to stop you. Because they're just not built to do that. So that is the success, the thing that makes the TAAG system now is the fast push. That is what makes it dominant at its core. So if you go and you choose a deck like this, Cat, or if one of your guys goes and chooses a deck like this, you're playing the game normally, which is fine if you're having fun with that. But the whole reason that you're here and the thing that's going to become mainstream is the economy side of it, is the spam side of it. So you can stop Russian fast pushes with units like this and with the B2. But you are not doing the fast push on the other side because you can't. That's SF.
On
That's
yourself, yeah.
SF Marine.
Yeah.
So that is down to you guys. And that's why when I tell everybody it's 3 to 5, it's always 2 people fast pushing, at least 1 person supporting. Otherwise, it's not going to work. The economy play, and then people to help them, to support them with that economy play. That's what you need in this. Now you can support with this.
That can we right jump into it?
Go for it.
Yesterday we had a situation. It was the map with a little castle on the side, and I
Snowcastle.
think it's yes, or
I do that
yes,
all the time. I forget names of maps
Snowcastle.
all the time. It's all good, dude.
And I think this map is like a little bit mirrored. So our first approach to cut something off doesn't work on this map very good. So, or we haven't practiced a lot it. But we had a fast push through the middle and on the right side, and then my guy was scouting on the left side. He needs some support. And while I was shifting myself from the middle over to his side to support him a little bit, the middle lost my pressure on it, and the whole line collapsed, and we were really struggling to get that back. So I am I would like to know in more because on my playstyle I don't like support players. They are telling me, or they bring in the first wave some artillery,
Yep.
and at some point you are playing with 4 people against
Right.
5, and
It's not
somebody
a
is in the
conventional
third
support.
line.
I know
Okay,
what you're
okay,
about to
okay.
say. It's
So
not so but it is the role of support. So the explanation with the support role within the tag system is you're worried the most about flank security, you're gaining information, and you're basically the coach of the team. So
So you
basically, you're
are more
tracking the
of
other
an
players.
outzoom.
You
Yeah,
are very much a high
you're
level. You're very much you're like a
yeah,
shot
okay, okay.
caller. So you're realizing that hey, this player that we have set to yellow, this is a US SF deck. They haven't been spending many points, and I haven't seen many planes from this person. Chances are they have a B2 nuke, so we need to pay attention to that, and we need to be aware of that. But also, you're in that role. You are trying to get. You've probably seen a couple of my videos where I get, especially one in the US, I get a Silent Hawk with a recon team underneath their air spawn. That is your goal. When people start to understand that and how to and learn how to stop that, that's going to become its own mini game of you doing that. But it's vital that you still attempt to do that and you make that your job, because every point that they're spending on the flank is not on the front line. It's nowhere near an objective. And the units
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
need in order to stop you are not always as effective on the front line as they are in that role. It's the helicopters, it's the lighter SHORAD, but can still see out to a distance, the special little reconnaissance units, and they're also in play. So if they're in play, they're taken away from their economy while it not being on the front line. Most of the time they're just sitting there. So if they know that you're going to try and
yeah.
move around the flank, or if they've stopped you before, then they're going to go and buy that SHORAD, or they're going to go and buy that reconnaissance that has no effect on the game other than a tripwire to try and get you to stop. So there's a little cat and mouse game that comes with that. Now, your original thing is you were saying you don't want support players. The only place for artillery, the only place for artillery is a support or a hard push role for the tag system. But as we said before, SAMs, SHORAD, supply. So you don't have that much, and when they are in play, they are constantly hitting SAMs, SHORAD, supply. That is it. So there are rules, and if people want to use artillery, that is what they are there for. Otherwise, they are buying frontline units and they are contributing to the frontline fight. So when done correctly, you still have that frontline established. What you're going to see is more and more videos of me with my guys, and what you will start to hear is I'll ping 2 parts of the map, and I'll be like, between here and here, establish your frontline. Now, that is just things in play. That is something there to know that there is not an enemy unit that is moving through that area. But it's also your units. So if it's Russia, if it's Marine mechanized, then it's Sturmoviki. They're not in their BT3F anymore. They're on the front line. They're actually established. They're already set up. Can you see me with my hand signals through the stream?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
They are just a wall there. Sturmoviki in particular. With the United States, especially the SF. It's fucking tough. So establish a front line if you want to do like my SF, my favorite, my SF Marine fast push deck. Your front line, not a whole lot. Usually it's RRC. Usually it's things with eyes. I think the second to last video that I posted, which was I was playing with Vulcan on Snowcastle, you see me create my front line multiple times with this deck. I think it was this deck. It was at least SF Marine. It's Ranger RRC. You need to have eyes. You need to see what you are going to fight against. Because if you don't know what you're fighting, you don't know what to fucking buy. But there are some units that are good for that. Sturmoviki is fantastic. RRC is really good for that. Sometimes Force Recon's really good for that as well. The SMAW, the Assault SMAW is also good for that in some situations. Rangers are okay for that. But usually you don't need to go that far. It's RRC, maybe grenade launchers. If in an urban environment. The CEV is going to take a fuck ton of time to get up there, but it's also very good at that too. So it's got the 2 smoke. It's going to be able to eat those autocannon shots, but you're going to be able to see what's out there because it's going to shoot at you. You're not going to visually see it because it has dick for optics, but you will see, I'm getting bink, 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 bink autocannon, or boom, tank, or infantry is in front of you, in which case they're going to go away. That can be useful for those situations as well. With a fast push deck with the United States, sometimes you can even send the SOARs and the DAPs. The thing about the SOARs and the DAPs is that they are weak. They're American helicopters. They're very weak. But they have the 2,000 meter optics and 25% ECM. So if you send a SOAR out there, while it can carry 12 and have 4,000 supply capacity, chances are you can drop off something that is going to be able to keep eyes out and then just fly forward. Because when you're flying forward and you're not getting shot by anything, what do you know?
There's nobody.
There's nothing there to shoot you. And if you are able to see out to 2,000, you can see if it's ground units too. So if they don't have SHORAD, you know they don't have SHORAD. So you can move up and you can just kind of keep going. And you create chaos for them behind their lines. You are able to easily find a way to create chaos with this fast push, where sometimes you don't need a whole lot on the front line because of all of the bullshit you're causing for them other places. Sometimes. So then it takes kind of like that. It takes that still, like you still kind of need that skill set and you still need that like understanding of the game to be like, kind of weird. It's kind of quiet over there. I'm just going to send an RSOB down that road kind of a thing.
Yeah. I think these chaotic, or to create chaotics on the enemy was the main reason why we were so successful in the first run, because we faced guys who play like Warno or whatever, and they didn't know we can rush with 5 people on Kaliningrad on sea. So they were, at some point when you are through the first 1,000 points of the enemy in the first wave, we had a lot of our sudden death within 6 to 7 minutes. We completely rushed over them, and they were not able to establish a front line because we were that depth in this depth of their territory, and they didn't know where to now reassemble and where to focus. So they were completely spread out, and we could pick them one by one.
Yep. The videos that I post these days, especially, I get dick for views. Mm-hmm. This is compared to my main channel. Do you know my Escape from Tarkov side of things?
No.
Oh, okay. So this
Absolutely
isn't.
Not.
Oh, well, this isn't my only channel. This is actually my second channel. I've got since you're here. So like my living from doing YouTube is do you play shooter games at all?
I was used to it, but not the couple of last years, because I would like to calm down after work and not to bring myself back up.
Yeah. So this is my main channel. So this is what I put aside to start my my TAAG channel, my Autistic Armchair General, which ended up doing well initially, and then of course the game didn't end up being as good as it could have been, and the drama with the TAAG system stuff. So this is like what my following is from, and this is where everybody on this Discord is following for. So this is my main channel, this is Escape from Tarkov, and this is what I need to go back and focus on in October. Um, fuck, there was a reason specifically why I brought that up. God damn it. Maybe it was just the timing. I forget my train of thought. Uh, there's a reason why I brought that up in particular that was important for what I'm about to say, but I forgot my train of thought and I forgot my
We were like creating chaos. We were like going on the flanks. We were like
That was
initial.
the reason why I'm posting what I'm posting. So all of the video, all of the gameplay that I've been posting for weeks is not just, in fact, I'll show you, is not just the game that I decided to post. It's actually for particular gameplay reasons. So these are just from, these are all games that I have recorded that I haven't shown you guys yet. Some of that might have been like Battlefield. Some of this is Battlefield. But I have dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of games that I have not posted because I'm not worried about that anymore. So the gameplay that you guys see, these games that you guys are seeing are teaching material. And I've been using it as teaching material for people in the TAAG system for, I think, over a month now. So this one in particular is the exact one that you want to see in order to have an effect of a frontline without really having a frontline, especially as the United States. This game in particular, Tag and Friends 2, US
This
Split
a
Striker.
couple of days ago, right? I
Yes.
tried to mimic it, but I couldn't get over this little tiny bridge. I didn't create,
Now
I
that's just the
think,
map,
too
but
much.
the actual gameplay, Tin, we're doing something in particular here. So sorry, man.
Okay, are you
All right,
playing today?
we're not playing. We're just talking right now.
Okay, man.
All right, sorry, dude.
Okay.
Stay
Uh,
tuned for
Bye.
like pings. We'll play this weekend.
Okay,
All right,
okay, good.
take it easy, dude.
Bye.
That's one of the guys that I'm coaching that we're playing with. This is the coaching channels that you're seeing here in the Discord. So you'll see the ping too if you want to come by this weekend and we can go through some day one stuff. But you're getting the gist of it here, which is actually literally one of the thing on the coaching material. It's literally called the gist of it. So I've talked a lot of people through this part. Now the thing I understand on this map it can be difficult to do this. It is tough to set up a hardened front line with SF Marine, but you can do it. That's why there's other decks. That's why there's the Bookers. That's why there's things with the Strikers. That's why you have things like the Assault Sma that can hold that ground. Things with the grenade launchers with their 8 armor that can hold that ground and you continuously push through. But they are not a frontline deck. So go check out that gameplay. That's kind of how I establish it, and that's how I go about establishing a front line, and if they let me, creating fucking chaos, because that is what you should do. You should work off of one of your teammates. I had 2 teammates that were in the town, but they kept pulling their fucking infantry back to resupply them. So there would be these weird waves where I'd get pushed, and then sometimes I can get through, sometimes I can't. But that's how you play a SF deck. That one in particular was SF Striker, but SF Marine, I would have done that way faster because you can bring the Assault Smas up. Or you can even do the CQC to have them up there, and they could take a bigger shot. They could take a better shot. Or the CEVs to just be able to take away that ammunition, have something there as a tripwire, have that stop them. But the thing that is super effective is that SF, that RSOVs, the RRC, the MAWs, sometimes the SMAWs, even just the grenade, or rather the sniper teams, because they can get the 2,000 meter optics and laze things behind their line. Create that fucking chaos. That is what makes it as powerful as it is. If you go and try to wrap things up for today, and if you have any questions, don't worry, we can get to that too. But just to wrap up my end and to try and cap this off, since we've been talking for an hour and a half here, you're not going to be able to play Russia as the United States. Russia is Russia. The United States is the United States. You can counter, and we have these counters, and we can talk about it another time. We can go through each of them. But if you want to stop Russia as the United States, it's what I've explained here. You'll notice the B2 is there as well. B2 in as many decks as we can possibly get them. We got the CEV in place of the Booker for this one because we're not strikers. CEVs can have that role, can make that play. The LAVAT is also similar, but it doesn't get the APS and doesn't get the armor that the striker one does. But it does have the same munitions. You just need to be a little bit more careful. So, same kind of concept. If they are spamming you, there's ways around it. But the thing with the United States is that you just spam faster. What we've found out is you just spam faster. you cut those roads off, you make their life hell to try and get to those objectives, to try and get to those places that they are spamming you at. And if they do get through, you've got the B2. That's the way that we've been playing it. And it's been very successful. So right now, my guys are having more trouble learning Russia than the US. So now it's a breeze from this point because Russia is significantly easier. So yeah.
We like I said, we started with Russia, so we now try to find our way into US. I will see. I take this. I appreciate that you took your time explaining me all of these kind of stuff.
I'm gonna stop you right there because I don't want to hear that from you. I am thanking you. This is a utter gift that you exist and that you don't hate me and that you wanted to come into the Discord and you're not trolling me. At least I don't think you are. Either way, we're good here. And that you organically wanted to talk about the stuff that you talked about, and that you organically came to the conclusions that I did as well months ago. Like this exists. This is real. And without me having any hands-on whatsoever, you were able to go and set up your own group and do your own tag system based off of the limited information that I've put out there so far on it, and find success with it. Is an absolute gift. I am the only one that is thankful here. Thank you, dude, for real. And now you can see the channels that you can come by and you can play with us if you want. And your guys just link up with whoever else you have for your guys there, and then of course they'll be part of the LFG on the other side. So thank you, man.
Sounds great. Yes. In any case, thank you.
Yeah, for real.
Also for your content and for your time.
Yeah. Any other questions? You got that, and you're going to be able to see our chats there and stuff too, and the other stuff that we've come up with. So you can drop it down there, and one of my other guys that I've been teaching, or girl, surprisingly we have a girl too, that is interested in this stuff that I've already been coaching, can help you out.
Yeah, maybe this weekend I will be not available, but maybe at some time when nobody is online and you are a little bit bored, I would love to invite you to us, or we join you, and I would like to show you what level we are with, and then have a little talk about after 1 or 2 rounds, and then you can tell us, hey, this is the right approach, this is you could think about this. So just I would like to know. At this point, I would like to know how organically far I came with this group and with this knowledge based on your videos, and then that you can tell me maybe a little bit or level it out where we are and how much further we need to go.
Yeah,
I'd love to have this.
It was on purpose that I haven't done a full tutorial. Actually, when you see the gist of it, that was going to be my script for it, because there's no team. So I keep getting excuses every single time I talk about it. I'm getting excuses out the fucking wazoo on why this doesn't matter, why that doesn't matter. And you'll notice initially when I first started bringing it up, people were asking, we need to see what this does with a real team. We need to see what this does with pro players. So I went and got fucking pro players who even verbally confirmed they were learning from me and did what I've taught them. And then they said, oh, of course you're going to win those games because they're pro players. I was just like, I can't fucking win here. So the only, it's like literally like, it's just bonkers, just bonkers community, bonkers situation.
But why you care?
It's like, why the game needs it?
Why you care on these? Yeah, yes, it's correct.
The game needs it. That's the only thing that I care about. That's the only thing I care about. And then also, these are if they're getting angry at me for this. One of the things in game development, because I used to be in game dev too. One of the things that when you know that you have a good game is when people are furious at you about it, because they like it enough to be angry. So these guys that are getting angry about what I am talking about with the game, you know that they are true fans of the game. That is the community. So if they're that passionate to get angry about something that is just a conversation about a way to play the game, if there is a way to get through to those people that this is a good thing to do, those are the people that I need to try and get through to. Because if there is a problem with the way that this plays out, like I was trying to say before, and the analogy that I keep using is everybody is riding around on horses, and this is going to go into the ego thing too. People are saying that too. If I see it as everybody's riding around on horses. Horses are great. Horses are cool. They get the job done. I have developed a automobile where I'm pretty sure that it's a problem. I know it's better. And I have no problem with people riding around on horses. I'm just gonna drive by in my automobile and be like, okay, I'm getting there faster. Just, hey, by the way, this is better if you guys want to try it out. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that if everybody starts riding around in the automobiles, the way that it's fueled is causing problems. So then people are going to try and come up with solutions that will end up ruining it for everybody. So I know that my game plan on this is, if enough people get into it, maybe, and if the right people get into it, the pros and stuff like that, maybe we can find ways through it and then go to the devs with our solution before it even becomes a problem. That got shot out the cannon fucking immediately because everybody hated it, and now everybody they can't even pretend to like it or even try it without their friend group hating them. So it's just like it went fucking bonkers immediately. However, now that people understand it, now that the pros are doing what they're doing with the 2v2 tournaments and stuff like that, it will become mainstream. And the devs are taking their sweet ass time with stuff anyway. So the community is the community at this point. It is what it is. I tried. Honest try. Honest, like actual genuine, had the best intentions in mind. I wanted to do something for the community that would get people into it better. I had a lot of friends stop playing the game. Well, my streamer friends stopped playing because they kept getting stream sniped by pro players. So they did that to themselves. They kept wanting to, show up on their stream and show up beating them. But then if they knew it was them, then they're not going to continue to play the game. So you guys did that to yourselves if you guys are watching. So good job on that end. You had in 2025, the best way to promote a video game is to have streamers get into the game, and you stopped that. So good job there. If they're listening, obviously this is not to you, Kat. This is to the camera. You can see that too, actually, now that I think about it. So that's an initial problem. And then I think you caught us talking about some of this stuff before. We tried telling them, like, the game needs VoIP. It needs smaller game modes. It needs to be solo viable. You're not going to want to play the game and be able to get your friends online. You gotta go into the solo queue, and the solo queue is a waste of fucking time. So then people are going to find a better use of their time and stop playing the game. We knew this. And we told them, and the same way that they don't give the smoke to the striker Shroud because it's the best Shroud in the game, so they don't want to make it too powerful, so they didn't put something that's been used since World War fucking I, which is just a smoke that you pop out, but it has APS, so it can fucking shoot a bullet out of the sky. Or the same reason that they wanted to have 6 Malkas and 6 Tulpans in the game before I told them that that's too many. And then I brought it into a game back in April, and I posted that game too. And then they said that it wouldn't be economically viable for somebody to be able to get those. And then I bought all 6 Tulpans, and then I swept them in 7 minutes on Baltisk. And then guess what happened a week later? They turned it down. They fucking halved it. So you need, with these devs, they're passionate. They have the right ideas. This is a fucking fantastic game. I love it. I'm clearly addicted to it. Dream game for me. Great game. But the only problem is not cheaters. The only problem is not bugs. The only 2 problems are not cheaters and bugs. The problem is there's issues with the game, and because they have such a small dev team or people that know what they're doing or whatever the fucking thing is, they need to fix the game. They need to make the gameplay better. You don't know this reference, but everybody else, a lot of people listen to me, even though this is going to go on the TAAG channel, is going to know this reference. There is another game that is one of the most popular games in the world called Escape from Tarkov, where you will see countless. If you go and you Google it right now, you'll see things about cheaters and you'll see things about bugs and is it ready for 1.0. But the gameplay behind it and the ability for you to just drop what you're doing and if you want to play it, you can drop into it and play it. The gameplay and the feeling that you get from it is so unique and so just needed by the community and the people that are interested in the game. They don't care. They just play it. To some point, you'll get annoyed by the cheaters. To some point, you'll get annoyed by the bugs. But in a few days, you'll get that itch. You'll be like, all right, I'm going to go do a raid. I'm going to go play. I'll get a scav run in. And then that one run that you do, that one raid that you do, you're immediately back in the fucking wagon. Like, it's immediately like, that was amazing. I don't know why I stopped. And then a few raids later, you fucking break your keyboard. But because the game plays the way that it plays and it's accessed the way that it's accessed, it doesn't have the fucking VoIP, it doesn't have like a 1v1, a 2v2, or ideally at least a 3v3 mode where if somebody really knows what they're doing, they can carry. It doesn't have the access and the way to play it the way that we can so that we don't get stream sniped when there's really popular streamers like Sacriel or Sequisha that are playing it, but then constantly get fucking stream sniped by pro fucking players, which is fucking ridiculous. It doesn't exist. So, It's on the devs now. We'll see what happens. That was my final little rant there, Kat. You didn't need to hear all that, but that was on recording. And I'm probably going to end up making this I'll probably end up making this a, what's it called? A debrief podcast or something like that. So that's the reality with it. We'll see what happens. We got this LFG going. We'll talk more in the future. Anything else that you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, just thank you.
All right, dude. Seriously, no, thank you, dude.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
More videos to come.
good day.
I'll get some recordings when I get to play with you guys, and this will be cool. So thank you, man.
Sounds great. Bye.
All right, take it easy, dude. And for everybody else that's listening, that was cool. Literally happened exactly the way that he said it. Just was interesting. He said he follows Bolt, Vulcan, and I, and that he played against some people with the tag system, and now he wants to learn it. And his friends want to learn it. Because it is what it is. So, thank you again, Catzilla, who I'll put a logo up or something on that end. Do you make content? Do you happen to do like social media or anything like that? Can I plug anything? Cat?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Okay.
None of this.
Just a player, bro. All right.
Yes.
Is what it is. More on the tag system coming up. I am going to be stopping what I'm doing on this channel, at least Broken Arrow wise, but I come October, I need to focus back on the main channel because a bunch of you guys do know the main channel. Starting October 10th for Battlefield, and then October 30th we got Arc, and then November 15th. So I have to go back over to the main channel. So everything tag system is going to be done between now and then. And if you guys are looking for people to play with, join the Discord. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a nice day. See you guys.